Hi everyone! Today I have a special guest with you here, Will Lockhart, director and producer of the surrounding game. In this video, I'll be talking about the surrounding game, a Go documentary that was just released a few days ago worldwide. So say hi to Will. Hi.
Hi, Hajin. Glad to be here.
Thank you for taking the time to talk with me today. I'm very
absolutely.
excited to hear all about the movie because I watched the movie a while ago and then I just loved it.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, so we just launched last Thursday. It was really exciting. This has been sort of the final culmination of 6 years of this project. So if you haven't seen it yet, please head over to surroundinggamemovie.com. And we have streaming, download. You can get a DVD or a Blu-ray. We even have some 9x9 sets. So definitely check it out. And you can see what all the fuss is about.
Yes, I definitely agree. I also strongly recommend the video. So before we talk about the movie, can you tell us about yourself, like your background and how you got into making this film?
Yeah, definitely. So it's been, looking back, it's kind of hard to believe. I don't know like how this project got so big, but so I'm from New York City. I grew up there, and I learned Go from my father, who was a math teacher. And my brother and I, Ben, got really into it. We watched Hikaru. You know, we started going to tournaments and all that. And when I went to college, I met my friend Cole, and he was sort of just getting into the game, just like really getting excited and climbing up the queue levels really fast.
Nice.
And then there was sort of, you know, for a long time, the idea of a documentary was sort of floating around in both of our minds, just because we were fans of film and we were fans of Go, and it just seemed crazy that such a rich subject was still so unknown in the West, and there wasn't, it seemed like there was such an opportunity there for a great documentary. That being said, we didn't at all think at first that we really had the capabilities to do it. We were totally inexperienced in terms of actual filmmaking, and so it was sort of just a pipe dream in the back of our minds for a few years. And then a couple things sort of all lined up that kind of set us off to give it a shot. So first we got this opportunity, thanks to the Ing Foundation in Shanghai, to come to China for a week and play Go against college students in Shanghai as sort of a cultural exchange trip. And that was super exciting. And, you know, that organization is really dedicated to promoting the game. And we had those contacts. And then just a few months later, this was back in 2012, the AGA announced that they were going to start crowning professionals. And this, you know, as a member of the AGA and the Go community in the US, this was kind of a shock. Like, it almost didn't even make sense. Like, really? Like, is this a good idea? You know, but, you know, they got sponsorship and they had an opportunity to go for it. So it kind of felt like the AGA and we, as filmmakers, and the AGA as Go organizers, sort of at the same time, were kind of stepping into something new, and not, you know, and that was very uncertain, and saying, you know, I'm not sure if we have what it takes to make this movie. I'm not sure if we have what it takes to start this pro system, but we have the opportunity. Let's go for it. So it was very exciting that first year or so of filming, and we got so much support from the Go community in the US, and they really sort of made it possible for us. We were donating time and money and everything. So that's kind of how it got started. And then it's just been a long, sort of crazy journey from there till now.
Right. I think it was I think it was really fortunate that you were there to film, to document the very first pro qualification of the AGA. It's going to be like super important in like 10 years and 50 years and 100 years because people will get to see it. I have no idea how the Korean Baduk Association had its first pro qualification. We have stories, but it would have been really nice if we had that video like you do.
Sure.
So
yeah, well, it was amazing to be there on the ground, and I guess I'm kind of curious, as a professional player yourself, sort of what your reaction was at that time when the KBA and Taijim sort of KBA made a deal to start the system, because we talked when we first started filming. We went all around the East Coast and down to the Congress, and basically what we did when we were first starting out and feeling our way is, we went up to people and we just said, why do you like Go and what do you think about this pro system? That was kind of like how we started. So what was your reaction when they made that announcement?
Right. So first of all, I must admit that I was a kind of insider at the time because I was working in international operations in the Korean Baduk Association. And then I was working closely with the American Go Association. I was also close with Myungwan, so I knew about like what was going on. Yeah, and there were many people who were concerned about whether the AGA was truly ready for this system. But I was actually one of the enthusiastic advocates for the system, because what I thought was that like it's very difficult to be completely ready to start it. I thought like it's a kind of chicken and egg problem. If you don't start it, you don't have the environment. But can you really start without the environment? But my idea was that you first need to get it started and then like work on it. I also had this knowledge that when Korean Baduk Association started, they also had very poor environment. There were only a handful of strong Go players, and then there was no sponsor. This was just a one person's strong will that made everything happen. And it also took them maybe like 20 years to have really strong pro players competing in international level. In the very beginning, I read somewhere that the Korean pros were about 2 stones weaker than the Japanese pros.
Yeah, I think Myungwon, when we talked to Myungwon early on in the qualifiers, Myungwon is in the film, plays an interesting role. And for those of you who don't know, Kim Myungwon, who lives in California, he's a 9-dan professional from Korea, and he sort of was the one really spearheading the American pro system when it started in 2012, and I think he said something similar about, people think of Japan, China, and Korea obviously as these empires of Go, but really, both China and Korea, it wasn't until really the 70s and really more the 80s when they actually became competitive internationally. So yeah, that's definitely something that he pointed to as well, as sort of a model of how this might happen. Right.
Did you also know that the AJ has a longer history than Korean Baduk Association?
No, that's crazy.
Because I think AGA was officially established in 1930s.
Right, with Edward Lasker.
Right, yes. So I think it was kind of the time. It was a good time to get it started. But like if we talk about like how it's going at the moment, I think there is still a lot of room for improvement.
Yeah, for sure.
But I also see this huge opportunity as an organization without any legacy. So, I read about these developing countries coming up with like totally new system, like China going all mobile payment, or Estonia going like 100% digital government. And people say that it was possible only because they didn't have legacy. the US still uses paper check, and it's very difficult to make the transition because
Right.
it's a working legacy. So I think the AGA or the European Go Federation, they are just starting the professional system, and I feel like they have this room for innovation.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. I think we'll have to see what happens. And then obviously AlphaGo was a total game changer too. No one expected that, and that kind of threw
That's true.
the whole
Yes.
Go world, off balance. So that's a whole nother topic, of course. But
Yes.
but yeah, so I think another reason. Obviously, one of the exciting things about the movie is documenting this period. But another big goal of ours with the film, was to create something that could, sort of bring people outside of the Go world, and sort of just expose them to what, not just the game, but the whole sort of culture, history, the whole, and even sort of the philosophy, different people's philosophy around this game. So I think I'm curious. Maybe we should. Well, at some point we should watch some clips. But yeah, another thing I was thinking of talking about is just Go promotion in general, and just how I think this movie is kind of a new way to share the game with people, because even if someone's not interested in playing Go, they can still appreciate it, right? They can still appreciate the characters and the intensity and the struggle and the history and the culture and the visual beauty. We had some people at screenings over the summer. We did some theatrical screenings.
Yes.
And I had a number of people come up to me and be like, and say, who were not Go players at all.
Wow. Yes.
The film, it was incredible. I still don't even want to play Go. Like, Go's not for me. Like, I'm not a game player.
Oh yeah.
I still loved the movie, and I still appreciate everything, and I understand why people love it, things like that. So I think that the movie has an appeal that's a lot bigger than just, of course, I'm excited for Go players to see it, to see all the interviews with the professionals, and all the footage of, kind of rare footage of the Go world.
Right, yes.
I'm almost even more excited for non-players to see it, because I think that's really, is going to be, I hope, sort of the legacy of this movie, is as a way to expand the appreciation and the awareness of the game.
Yes, and I personally think you did a wonderful job in that regard.
Well, thank you.
Yes, there were many things that I loved about your film, but one thing was that it told the story in a very interesting way, and that story was from a perspective of the US. Because I've seen many Go promotional materials made by Korea or China or Japan.
Sure.
And then those videos are often good qualities because they hire professional filmmakers and all. But then they don't really address what American people are interested in or curious about. They don't speak the same language. But when I saw that film, I could really feel that it was a American film made for the Westerners who are not familiar with the Go culture.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting to hear, because that's a perspective that I sort of can't escape, right? Being an American, being an English speaker, it's interesting to hear how it comes across for you. Yeah.
Yes. And then some of the things I've never seen, you did awesome work. One of my favorite scene was how you visualize the reading. So
right.
The animation. So can I show the short clip of that here?
Yes, let's take a look. So this is from the I think it's the first round sometime during the tournament.
Yes.
And you'll see what Hajin's talking about.
So this was the film, the scene that I loved. And when I was watching this film with my husband, I was like, oh my goodness, that's exactly what I do. Like, I really see these stones like appearing and disappearing in my head. And that's so vivid that it looks almost like the real stones are appearing and disappearing. And then I've never seen anyone like trying to actually visualize that. And another thing was that you didn't just show the stones appearing, but you showed like actual sequence of that situation, right? Did you?
Yeah, well, luckily I'm at least somewhat competent Go player, not compared to you, of course, but try to that's I think that was an idea that we had really early on, actually. But the funny thing was, we had so much to work on as we were editing the film together. The big, you kind of have to start with the big picture, and then like in Go, right? Start with the big picture and then zoom into the details. So we actually the final actual pieces of that stop motion animation was actually one of the very, very last things that we did.
Oh, I see.
And that we put in. I mean, we had the idea for like forever. It was always sort of planned, but we had something temporary, and then we finally put it in. And it was kind of a crazy process. So just some behind the scenes story here. So this was like we had a Gobon set up. We had this cool mount that our editor he used to do some stop motion himself, actually, so he happened to have this kind of rig where there was like a floor and then this post that could mount a camera, and so then there was we had to figure out, like, okay, we're gonna add stones and hit a button and it'll snap a photo and add another stone, but something that was like really way harder than we thought was like,
oh, I see,
really hard not to like jiggle the stones a little bit when you add one.
Oh, that makes sense.
Because if you try to put like a new stone in somewhere where there's a lot of other pieces, and you even move one like a tiny bit,
yes,
you play it back in stop motion, it's really obvious. Like, you can just see, like, because you'll see like a piece that just sitting there, and then it'll just like move, right? It was actually like really tricky, and we had these little sticky pads, like little, like, I don't know, square centimeter sticky pieces. So we actually we had this little sticky tack on each stone, and so when we added them, we like carefully dropped it in and like pushed it down to make it stick. So there were like sometimes like we do like a whole sequence, and then we'd like put one in and like it would screw everything up, and we're like, no, we have to redo it. That was kind of a nightmare, but I'm so glad. I'm really glad with how it turned out, and I love hearing that it matches, because that that's how I play, right?
That's
in a way,
right, yes.
That's trying to express what it feels like to read ahead and come up with, at least with some simple sequences that seem plausible as things that these players might be actually reading.
I see. So you didn't actually ask the players what they were thinking?
No,
because I was wondering if you did that.
I think when you, you commented on Facebook once, you were like, "I love this reading sequences. It's so cool. I wonder if they asked if this was really it." But yeah, no, I just made it up.
Oh, okay, but you did a good job. It was very believable.
Thank you. Yeah, well, that's what a 4-dan would play. The 9-dans, I don't know. They might have other sequences in mind.
I see.
But yeah.
So what else was hard to make in the film? Like, do you have like a memorable moment or like? Yeah,
a lot. Well, one thing, one thing that's kind of amazing. So maybe to just give like a overall picture of the timeline. It was amazing to me how difficult and how much time and how important the editing was. With a documentary, especially. With any kind of film, but especially a documentary where you have so much footage and you have to sort of build the story from scratch. There's no script, right? There's no writers.
I see.
So the editing really is like the bulk of the work, and that was really an amazing challenge. So essentially, from 2012 to now, it was about, very roughly speaking, we had about 2 years of shooting, and 2 years of shooting, 2 years of real editing, a year of kind of the final touches of editing, and then the past year of distributing it, showing, we had our world premiere last spring. We did a theatrical tour over the summer. We've done campus screenings in the fall. So that's kind of the breakdown, is like 2 years of shooting, 3 years of editing, and a year of showing it. But yeah, that period of editing really, sometimes people would be like, why is it taking so long? This is crazy. Like, I want my money back, and so no, it's definitely, when we started, we were definitely very naive in terms of how long we thought the process would take. And of course, it kind of got bigger as we went along. When we first started, we were like, yeah, this will be a year, maybe 2. And, we had a much smaller project in mind.
Yes.
And, partly because of how much support and enthusiasm we were seeing, the access that we got in Asia, all these things were kind of giving us the opportunity to make it bigger and better, and then of course also take longer. But yeah, the editing was kind of crazy. I don't know. I'm sort of rambling. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. Another crazy challenge was just shooting footage in a foreign language.
Yes.
So like doing interviews with a translator, that was kind of crazy. So for example, when we were in South Korea, we were at the KBA, and we were fortunate enough through a friend of Ben's to get an interview with Isadol. That's right. Which was unbelievable, and at the time we were just like little kids, like on Halloween. It was amazing.
And then you did such a good job with the lighting and the atmosphere of like Isador interview. I really enjoyed that scene.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, and our DP, our cinematographer, was amazing. He's from New York as well. But yeah, for me it was crazy because we had some questions planned out, but then conducting an interview like that, we don't understand what he's saying. So
that's right. Yes.
So our friend Che Lim, who
yes,
she's like Surrounding Game fan number 1. She did everything for us. She was incredible. She like took a week off and just like toured with us in Korea and showed us everything. It was amazing. But anyway, she was the translator for that interview. So I would ask a question. I would ask a question like looking at Mr. Lee, and I would say something, and he obviously had no idea what I was saying, right? And Che Lim would repeat the question in Korean, and then he would talk for who knows how long, 5 minutes sometimes.
I see.
And I would just be like nodding as if, just like like, because the other thing is it's weird as an interviewer if you have no reaction. Right, it's hard if you're being interviewed and you're talking to someone and they just have no reaction at all. That's kind of off-putting, right? That's kind of unnerving. So I was like trying to nod and smile, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I have no idea what he's saying, and then he'll finish,
right?
And then Che Lim will try to sort of give like a super fast summary, like he talked about this, and this, and this, and then we'll try to somehow come up with a follow-up question. So it was. Right. It was pretty amazing, but the great thing was, he and really all the professionals that we had the opportunity to talk to were just so open and so nice, just so warm, and there was no sense of sort of elitism or anything like that. They were just happy to participate and happy to get to talk to Westerners about their career, and about the game that has inspired them. So it was really inspiring to see. We knew the American Go community was excited about this, but it was really great to see even the Asian professionals enthusiastic about the project.
Yes, you also got to interview Iyama Yuta, the very top player in Japan, and Nie Wei Ping.
Yeah.
His name's hard. Yes,
Yes.
the legendary player from China. Can I show a short clip to my viewers? Quick.
Yes, absolutely. Let's watch the
Yes.
the world. I think I dubbed this scene "World of the Pros."
我们一直都说中日韩三国是《三国演义》，一代一代接下来啊，而且一代比一代显得更生猛啊。
英式杯可以说是在围棋比赛中的这种奥运会，它的冠军是40万美元。
물론 서양의 체스도 있지만 그것과는 사실 비교가 되지 않을 만큼 더 오묘하고 훨씬 더 지적인 게임이거든요. 인간이 여태껏 만들어 놓은 것 중에 가장 어렵고 가장 지적인 게임이죠.
네, 먼저 중앙을 행마를 하고 나서 나중에 두면 이거 버리죠.
네, 선수 교환을 하고 들어서 사는 정도인데요.
そうですね。囲碁はその魅力をいろんな人に伝えていくというのもプロ棋士の大事な役割だと思いますので、自分で勝って賞金を稼ぐということと同じぐらい非常に大事なことかなと思います。
So that was the interview of the very top pros. And in the actual film, you also get to see more pros, like from Japan. I remember you had the Japanese pro. Somehow right now I can't remember his name.
Let's see. We had Otake Hideo.
Oh, that's right. Yes,
maybe?
yes. You talked about Go Sagan.
Unbelievable.
And then can I say a little spoiler here?
Yeah, I think you can. So
Yes.
for people who have seen the movie, I think you know what's coming.
Okay.
For a while over the summer, we sort of wanted to keep it secret, but now that the movie's out, I think we can talk about it.
Oh, okay. Thank you for letting me say this. But I was amazed to see that you had actual Go Sagan in the film. You actually got to meet him. And it's not possible now because very sadly he passed away.
Right.
But he is like probably one of the top Go players in the history. One of the most famous. So
Yeah,
that was amazing.
I still can't believe it, honestly. It's really crazy. And that maybe I can talk a little bit about how that came to be.
Yes.
Because when we were planning our trip to Japan, so we did 2 filming trips, one to China and Korea, and then the next year we went to Japan just for about 10 days. And that the idea of meeting Go Sagan was not even on our radar. It just that was just too crazy to even imagine. And so we were we had a few contacts who were going to set up a couple interviews. We had the interview with Takemiya Masaki was planned in advance. Getting a tour of the Nihon Kiin, a few things here and there we had planned in advance. But then we got in touch with Michael Redmond, who many of you know. Obviously, he's been doing some awesome commentaries on the AlphaGo matches lately.
Yes.
So this was 2013 that we went to Japan. So we got in touch with him, and just to say, hey, would you like to be interviewed for the movie? Just stuff like that. And he said, oh, sure. I live in Tokyo. You should come by. And then he was like, oh, by the way, would you be interested in interviewing Go Sagan?
Wow.
We were like, this was like over email, and we were just like, what? Are you crazy? Like, so we immediately replied like, that would be
unbelievable. Like, please let us know if that's possible. Like, we'll do anything.
Yes.
You know, and there was this very, you know, he said, you know, he couldn't promise it, of course, but he was going to try because he happened to know Go Sagan's daughter.
Oh,
And
yes, I see.
who
I think I've met her
I think
too.
is also a professional. I'm not sure.
Not professional, I think.
Not professional. Okay. Well, he was acquainted with her, and so, like, literally in the days before we left, we were like waiting to hear back whether it was happening. Like hitting the refresh on the email, you know, over and over again. And eventually he came in and he said, I think it's going to work.
Wow.
So, you know, this was I think, a couple days into the trip. We met Michael at a train station. We took a train out about an hour from Tokyo and met him, and then took another train. And it was really just, really probably, you know, just incomparable. Probably the highlight of the whole filming.
Right.
All the film
Yes.
for them. It was just totally surreal. You know, we sang him "Happy Birthday." You know,
Right. Yes.
like, so crazy to think about. He was turning 99 at the time. So that was just amazing. And again, everyone involved, you know, was, you know, we had no idea what he was saying at the time, but you know, you could see the emotion in his face sometimes.
Right.
And you know, his daughter and his caretaker were there, and we were just trying to be as respectful as possible, and also sort of see the cues that they were giving of when something, you know, meaningful was happening. So
Right.
I don't want to spoil too much of the scene. So you guys,
Right. Yes.
But it was really amazing experience.
Yes, that was an amazing scene. Yes.
Also something that you know, everyone across the board, young and old, Go players and non-Go players, like everyone at the end of the movie is like, that was my, you know, one of my favorite parts. Like it definitely, I think, you know, touches everyone. Just seeing someone who has dedicated their life to this thing, you know, reflect on that lifetime is just really moving. Especially because, you know, the movie is kind of, it's about a lot of things, but in a way, I think at its core, I think of the film as kind of being about the experience of being a young person trying to decide sort of what to do with your life, ahead, and sort of being at this critical juncture and saying, you know, for these guys, like, is this a career for me? Like, and just sort of more generally, like, how do I want to spend my time, you know?
Right.
And so having Ben and Andy and Curtis and these young people asking that question throughout the film, and then getting to see someone who actually has committed and is reflecting sort of in the opposite direction, is, I think, really, like, makes just I'm so glad that was able to happen, and something that I think connects with the audience sort of across all different demographics.
Right. Yes. Speaking of the characters, I thought Ben was such a perfect character for that film.
Oh, thanks. I thought some people say he was such a jerk.
No, I mean, I think, you know, Ben. I see why some people would say that. So Ben and what was his name?
Andy. Curtis?
Andy and Calvin? No, not Calvin.
Curtis is the.
Curtis.
Yeah.
So Curtis and Andy and Ben were so different, but they were like so close with each other. So like seeing their interactions was super interesting. And then like sometimes kind of like playfully trash talking.
Yeah.
That was like a really like fun part, made the whole film like lighter, and then I really liked it. And then like Ben like really talking about his feelings so honestly, I was very impressed. He would say things like, you know, it's really hard to stop. you're really hard to stop in Go. Like when you are kind of good. He said something in that line.
Yeah. I mean, it was great. You know, it's kind of another thing that really evolved over the course of making the movie. You know, when we set out to make the film, our vision of it was much more sort of directly promotional. You know, of course we wanted to make something that was meaningful and that was artistic, but
yes.
You know, the main goal at first was really like, you know, we were enthusiastic Go players, Go organizers, like, let's like, we have to share the game with everyone. Like, we should show everyone how great Go is. But then, you know, as it went along and we got Richard, our editor, involved, you know, he really brought a great perspective as a filmmaker and as someone who's not in the Go community. And he really encouraged us to make the film more character based.
I see.
I think that was really great advice. And I think, you know, especially for people who don't play Go, again, even if they're not going to be, you know, running out to go buy a Go board,
yes.
they still can love the character story and be interested in people. And I think that, you know, that's something that universally is just a rule of filmmaking, right? Is like make interesting characters and interesting stories. So, so the film, we started going more, you know, trying to do more in-depth interviews with Ben and Andy, especially. I think it took a while to sort of gain their trust. And for me also, you know, it's obviously Ben's my brother, and my mom, who's a film editor, became a producer on the movie. So it really also evolved into more of this family project. And so yeah, it just became much more personal for me over time.
Right. Yes. What did Ben say about the film?
Well, yeah, when we first, I was very nervous to show it to him first. So he saw it he saw some early cuts before it was finished.
I see.
For sure. And so, yeah, I think the first time we showed him a version that was rough, he was pretty critical.
Yes.
But I think, you know, as it got better, he was more excited about it. And I think ultimately, you know, his, you know, he's very, what do you want to say? Like, you know, he's not going to hold back his criticism. You know, if he thinks something sucks, he's going to tell you to your face. But I think it was, you know, a lot of his criticism really came from a place of love, ultimately, in that he wanted the movie to be great.
That's
you know,
right.
He wanted, you know, he wasn't thrilled about how, you know, big a character he was, but at the same time, I think as he started to get used to the idea and come to embrace it, and then, you know, he really just wanted it to be as good as it could be. So he actually gave some critiques that I think were really useful and that helped us make it better.
I see.
So I think, you know, I don't want to speak for him, but I think he's pretty happy with it now that we're finally finished.
See. Nice.
Yeah.
He was really good
that was
character.
Yeah, that was a hard thing to deal with too.
I see. Yes. And do you have some future Go projects planned now that it's like released and all?
Yeah. Oh man. I need a break.
Sure. Yes.
But we are, as a small thing, we are actually next weekend. We are doing a fun little one-day event on the KGS Go server. This is Saturday, February 24th, this coming Saturday, and we will be doing a KGS, we call it the KGS Simul Challenge. So basically a bunch of players from the film, I think Ben and Andy, Gan Sheng, Stephanie Yin, I think Myungwon, are going to play simuls on KGS against anyone who wants to play them.
Wow,
so basically,
nice.
as part of sort of the release of the movie, this is just an opportunity, kind of fun little opportunity for people to get to play against the people in the film. Maybe ask them some questions, and we're going to do a live stream on the AJ YouTube channel with Michael Wanek, covering the simuls and talking more about the movie and
some of these guys. And I think if you win a game, you will get a free KGS 1 month membership. So we're working with KGS to do this event. So anyway, if you're free on Saturday, 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern, log on in the English game room and see if you can take one of these guys down.
That sounds really fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Actually, if you're free and you want to jump on the live stream as a special guest, we would love to have you for any time.
Yeah. I'm interested. Maybe we should discuss it more.
Sounds good. Yeah. So that'll be fun. So we're doing some promotional stuff like that.
Yes.
And I think there's always, even when it seems like we're done, like we're never really done with this movie, there's always more stuff.
I see.
We're going to add more languages in the future and so forth. But anyway, I think, for me, this whole period has sort of also been this past 5 years has, I think, as a Go player I've sort of evolved in a way. Like when we first started, I was going to tons of tournaments. I was running things. I was like really excited about playing. Of course, I still love to play here and there, but I think I've sort of I don't know. My relationship with the game has changed a little bit. I don't play as much anymore. I feel like I feel like a little bit. I'm feeling like one of those guys, some of the people in the movie, like Terry Benson, these like long-term organizers.
That's
who like
right. Yes.
they're and I don't know about the long term, but I'm feeling like a little bit more. I'm not. I'm not going to get much stronger. I don't have the time or the willpower to like push into those high dans. It's like so hard.
Right. Maybe we should mention that you're like 5 dan.
Yeah,
so you're already quite high.
But yeah, so at the same time, where I'm not as motivated to get stronger, I get a lot more. I think I get a lot more sort of joy from organizing in the Go community these days. In a few years ago, we ran an event with the Ing Foundation in Boston called the Changchi Cup, and that was the first time that an Asian professional tournament match was held in the U.S. I think there may have been one other sometime, but it was one of the first at least. And then we also had an amateur tournament and pro simuls and lectures and all these kind of things. And I think that was kind of the moment when I realized like it was so rewarding to see everyone come in, see it, and like I knew all these people from the community that I knew, and it kind of realized like I'm getting, this is kind of more meaningful to me now than being a competitor. I think I had my competitive Go phase, and now I think I'm sort of over it in a way. Like I'd rather come to the Go Congress and just see all my friends and hang out and organize something every once in a while.
Yes, as a person who used to be a pro player and then worked at the Korean Baduk Association and International Go Federation.
Yeah. Right. Yeah,
I totally understand what you mean.
Yeah, I'm curious to hear, maybe we can talk about a little bit about Go promotion in general.
Sure, yes.
As you said, you have an interesting path from a professional competitive player to a kind of a global promoter, right?
Right, in a
so
way.
I'm curious. Yeah, maybe you could talk more about how you made that transition and what kind of promoting Go means to you. It's a big question.
So how it happened was like not planned, but happened like in a natural way, I guess.
Yeah.
So, I played Go in all my life since I was 5 years old. And then I was a professional player at about 21. And then I was thinking, I am getting older, and then if I just stay in Go, I feel like I'll spend my whole life until I die just in Go. And then I thought I might regret that decision because I want to see the outside of the world. And that was the main reason why I decided to go to university, and then I studied finance.
Mm-hmm.
And while I was studying, I was also able to communicate in English at the time. And there were not many pros. I think still there are not many pros who could communicate in English. So Korean Baduk Association has this government project where they send strong pros or strong players to other Go events to promote Go and then like promote Korean Baduk Association and all.
Mm-hmm.
And then because there were not many talents that they could send, I was like very fortunate to do many of those. And as I was going to these different Go events, I got to connect with other Go associations, and that kind of naturally led me to work at the Korean Baduk Association in terms of like international operations. And then that also led to the International Go Federation.
Right.
So that's how it all happened. And like personally, so now I'm not competitive, as you mentioned, but then I always enjoyed like promoting Go. And I think that's because I truly believe that Go is an amazing game. And it's like you have something really good and then you want to share it with the world.
Yeah.
And it's not like I'm gaining anything. I don't like, maybe I do gain a little bit because I have my YouTube Go channel, and then I might be recognized a little more. But my motivation is more on that like more kind of innocent side, where I really, really think it's an amazing thing, and then people should kind of get to know it, get at least a chance to like learn about it.
Yeah.
So that's the personal side. And so I've been involved in many of the projects that were designed to promote Go. And there were some successes and some didn't work as well. And I feel like the biggest obstacle we have today in terms of promoting Go is that the competition for people's time is so tough.
Yes.
Like Go as an entertainment, we have to compete with like Netflix, for example.
Right.
And then like there are so many other fun things that people can do. So that's like really hard to like encourage people to spend more time in Go as their entertainment. If we pitch it as an education program, we also have like science and mathematics or like computer science to compete with. It's also hard competition.
Yeah, that's definitely a great point. And yeah, I mean, even with the movie, like there's so many other movies. There's so much stuff for people to watch. Everyone has like 15 TV shows they have ready on Netflix, right? That they're still haven't gotten to. So, so yeah, in general, we live in crazy times.
Yes. But I think there is an opportunity like coming, like opening up, like maybe very subtle one. One thing is that with AlphaGo, we are seeing like more and more Go AI programs. And maybe there is a way to really use them as a tool where we can like teach Go more effectively in a like shorter time. Or maybe it will become more accessible. Especially in the West, it's very difficult to find Go teacher or Go classes.
Right. It's kind of like that chicken and egg problem you mentioned before, right? Like, you know, unless you have a lot of people playing and a lot of people teaching and a lot of resources, it's hard to get in. It's hard to motivate people to invest time. But then if nobody's motivated to invest time, then there aren't all those people playing.
That's right.
It is it is tough. But yeah, I've definitely experienced just anecdotally at the New York Go clubs, for example, a lot of people coming in since AlphaGo saying, "Oh, I heard about this from AlphaGo." It definitely, I don't know, what the numbers are, but it definitely seems like the awareness. Even when we first started, in 2012 when we first started filming, and I would talk to just random friends of mine or people I would meet at a party or whatever, and they say, "Oh, what do you do? What do you?" Nobody had heard of it. Like nobody knew Go at all. And now I think, I don't know if the population playing has changed all that much, but I do think that the awareness of it through AlphaGo and just through more time seems to have really changed. I think it's definitely growing a lot.
Yes.
In terms of just awareness.
Yes.
Which is great, and I think that'll continue to happen.
Yeah, that's the first step.
Right,
yes,
exactly.
Like I was talking to the European Go Federation officers the other day, and then they were saying that before, when the Go players went to schools and teach Go class, they first had to explain whole lot what Go was. But now they don't need to do that part, they say. The schools would already know what Go is thanks to AlphaGo.
Right.
So that's
amazing. So I think I think we have reason to be hopeful.
Yes.
But I also think sometimes, obviously, I'm a big supporter of Go promotion, and I'm all about it. At the same time, one thing. So I went to the European Congress this summer for the first time, and I think I saw you. I think we saw each other for 5 seconds.
That's right, and then we lost each other, and then
but that was really cool to see, because I've been to the American Congress a couple, 5 or 6 times, and the European one is similar in some ways, but also different in other ways. It was very cool to see. It's so international, the European Congress, because Europe, the countries are so much smaller, and there's so many languages being spoken in such close area. So this was in Germany this past year. And so it really felt like this sort of international conference. And I remember everyone that they did this thing that that was awesome, where the top player from each country in the Open had a little flag next to them. They brought with them to the tournament. They sat down. They had their water bottle, their cup of tea, their Kifu paper or whatever, and then they had this flag with their name on it, which was just so epic. You go to the strong players room.
I think that's from that team championship. Are you familiar with the European Team Championship?
No.
So it's very similar to the HEA City League, except that it's a country, not a city.
Right.
And each country has 4 players, maybe some reserve players as well. And then they have the final round always at the European Go Congress.
Gotcha.
So they probably have the flag and the name tag for that. And since they have that, they could also use it for the main tournament too.
Yeah, no, it was super cool. I think the U.S. should do that for different states, right? Wouldn't that be funny to see, in the U.S. Open, someone the top player from Missouri, 7Q, have their repping the Missouri flag.
Yeah. Yes,
but anyway,
definitely.
It was cool to see the European Congress. Super international. It's also twice as long, which is crazy.
That's right.
But then coming back to the U.S., I love the USGO Congress, and especially as I get a little older and I'm less interested in the competitive side personally. It's just really, it just feels like a big family. Everyone. There's so many people who. So that is, even if the community. What I wanted to say was one advantage to having a small community, even though we're all Go needs to be bigger, more people should play. There is something nice about the intimacy of the smaller community where it's this, the same big family comes out once a year and everyone knows each other. And it's kind of this big reunion. So I really felt that this past year.
Right.
It was really a great vibe.
Right. You have this wonderful sketch of the USGO Congress.
Yes.
Can I show that to the viewers?
Yeah. So this is this is a really fun part of the movie. This is This is, I don't know, maybe like a third of the way in, right when the qualifiers have ended, and now the 16 competitors have been set for the Pro Qualification tournament, and everyone's excited. And Ben and Andy take a car trip down to North Carolina for the Congress, and this is sort of the first time in the movie where we kind of meet the American Go community.
Yes. So let's look at the clip.
The Go Congress is the national gathering for 400 dedicated Go players. If you play Go, it's the place to be for a week.
This is a Go board in the shape of the United States. This is blind Go, and the white pieces are flat, so that players who are blindfolded can tell what they're doing. This is spiral Go. This is the 3-4-6-4 tessellation. Oh, somebody just got captured. Two goldstones just got captured by red, green, and blue.
This is my 26th Congress in a row.
Go had to take the place of sex for me for a year, and it's kind of scary how well it did.
Well, I have Go tattooed on my back.
Even though the stones don't move once they're on the board, they kind of develop it in sort of cloud shapes, forming and reforming.
So, yeah, that was the very typical USGO Congress, wouldn't you say?
just normal stuff, yeah.
Yes, like with the crazy Go and tattoo and people hanging out. I love USGO Congress.
Yeah, when's the last time? Because I saw you at a Congress at least once, I think.
Yes. Wait, which Congresses have I been? I missed the last one because I was in the process of getting my green card at the time.
Right.
And it was getting delayed, and I was in an awkward situation. Couldn't really enter the country. But hopefully this year I can make it. Before that, I was in the Boston Congress and the St. Paul and Santa Barbara and Washington, D.C., the George Mason University. So I've been to 4.
Cool. Nice. Yeah, I was in Boston for like 2 days or something.
Oh, I see.
I was working at the time, so I could only go for a weekend. But anyway, yeah, next year is going to be great. I'm
yes.
looking forward to it, I think.
Right. So this year, right? This coming summer?
2018. Oh my God.
Yes.
Great.
So yeah, this summer it's going to be again the greater DC area, I think Virginia.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm. And I heard it was going to be the first week of August, like starting at the end of July. So if you are like a Go player but haven't been to the USGO Congress, I strongly recommend. It's
got to go.
It's a wonderful experience.
It's a lot of money. It's totally worth it if you can take it.
That's right. It is a lot of money, but right. But it's a place where like once you go there, you kind of want to go there again and again the coming years.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, great. Well,
yes.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say? Oh, let me mention a couple things about the release. We have a bunch of, aside from just the film, we have a lot of extra goodies that are available as well. So first of all, since we've been talking about the international scene, we were overwhelmed with how many requests and volunteers and just people contacting us about translations. So we have managed to translate the movie into, I believe, 10 languages.
Wow.
At this point, and more will be coming. So there's I think 7 on the DVD plus English. So English, Spanish, French, German, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, and Russian are on the DVD and Blu-ray. And then several more, including Italian and Portuguese, will be available on the digital version. So that's something we're really excited about. As I was saying, this is really an international project. Actually, our Kickstarter backers, I think almost or maybe even more than half were from Europe. We were kind of amazed at the beginning how much. Like, I didn't know anyone in the European Go community at all. And they just appeared. They just appeared, and they were like, "We're here supporting. Like, this needs to happen. Like, it's on." So it was really cool to see that, and then to see some of those people this summer at the Congress was incredible. But anyway, we have all those languages. A couple more will probably be rolling out on the digital version in the future. If you want to see the movie in Turkish or Czech or Slovakian or Thai or something that we don't have, let us know. You can contact us on our website, surroundinggamemovie.com, and we will see what we can do. So there's all the languages, and then the other thing is we have just released 6 deleted scenes and extras that were not in the final film, but is some of our favorite material that did not make the cut. So that's super exciting. So if you have already seen the movie, be sure to check out the new extra scenes. There's more of some fun American Congress. There's an interview with Cho Hoon-hyun.
Wow.
It's really great, one of my favorites, and just some other great funny little clips as well. So at surroundinggamemovie.com, you can check out those extras as well.
Yes, just to say a few words about Cho Hoon-hyun Naindan, since you mentioned. He was the very first Korean pro player who became world champion, and he dominated the Korean Go scene for decade until his own pupil, his own student Lee Chang-ho Naindan, came to the top. And currently he is a policymaker. He went to the Congress. So his work, yes.
I didn't know that part.
Yeah. It's been maybe 2-3 years since he got into. He was not elected, but he was, he got the seat from the party, the ruling party at the time. And then the ruling party won enough votes to include him. So basically in Korea, the parties can have reserve policy makers for 20 or 50 of them. And then depending on how many votes they get, they get to have a certain number of them in the Congress.
Right.
So,
okay, like a parliament system.
Right, yes. So he is currently at the Congress of Korea. And he's working on promoting Go.
Okay, so we've got an official in the government behind us. That's good to know.
Yeah. Yes.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, he's such a legend, and I think he still has the record for the most wins, just sheer number of professional wins. Games won.
I think so.
Which is totally crazy.
Yes.
Especially considering all the prolific players that we might think of a little bit more readily, Lee Sedol and Lee Chang-ho and Go Sagan and all these people. Cho Hoon-hyun actually, I think, has the all-time record for most wins. So
yes,
really an amazing presence in that interview.
Yes, wow! I didn't know you got to interview him too. I can't wait to see that footage.
yeah. He appears in the movie for a tiny second, which I felt a little bad about. We were but we had so much to cover and so many people. But we definitely deserved to have his own longer piece.
I see. So where can we see the footage again?
Yeah, so if you go to www.surroundinggamemovie.com, you can get the digital streaming or download of the film and also of the extras. And there's also we have our web store at surroundinggame.com, where you can get the DVD, the Blu-ray, if you'd like a poster or some other merchandise that is available as well. So surroundinggamemovie.com.
Nice. I'll have the link in the description.
Great. So people can check that out.
Yes. Awesome. So we had quite a bit of talk.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thanks so much for having me on, Hajin. This was really fun, and I love I think everyone loves your videos. It's very cool to see, a really strong player, talk through their thought process. It's really interesting.
Oh, thank you so much. It was really fun to have you today, and I can't wait to share this video with my viewers.
Awesome.
And also good luck with your film promotion and all. I hope millions of people would see.
Well, thank you. Well, all right, everybody. If you haven't seen the movie, it's available now. Go buy it.
Yes, go buy it.
Thanks, Hajin.
All right. Thank you very much.
See you soon.
Yep, see you. Bye.